Hello, everyone. My name is Jared Kettinger, and I'm so excited to walk you through today's presentation on one of my absolute favorite U.S. destinations, New Orleans, and how you can go on one of many great New Orleans itineraries with us here with Amtrak Vacations. Let's dive in. What you're seeing in front of you folks right now is a map of the Amtrak USA national route and routing system. Everywhere in this map, you're seeing a bright red line. That, folks, is a route that Amtrak travels on. Everywhere you're seeing a little white dot, that is one of over 500 train stations that Amtrak can travel to and through. And everywhere you're seeing a little black or dark star, that is where Amtrak Vacations has a vacation itinerary, a vacation package that we can book into. And those vacation packages aren't just trains or aren't just on the train, but they are a full-fledged itinerary, inclusive of hotel that you can pick where you stay in, sightseeing tours, and excursions to experience, and yes, even picking what level of accommodation on board the train that you will get to enjoy. And there are 3 Amtrak routes that will take you to the city that care forgot, the Crescent City, all names for New Orleans. The 3 routes are the Sunset Limited, the Crescent, and the very appropriately named City of New Orleans route itself. So wherever you're looking to go from, there are 3 pretty easy ways to get to New Orleans. The first route, the City of New Orleans, runs between Chicago and New Orleans itself, with several stops along the way, including the ever-popular city of Memphis. The Crescent route starts in New York, in New York's brand new Moynihan Station in Manhattan, will connect again on several different places in cities and towns along the way, including Atlanta, and then ends in New Orleans. And then the Sunset Limited will connect from Los Angeles all the way out in California, through Arizona, through New Mexico, through Texas, and then, yes, to New Orleans as well. And by the way, folks, with over 500 train stations that Amtrak can travel through, Amtrak Vacations can route and even book from and to any of the stations all around the U.S. to get you to New Orleans and back from New Orleans on your vacation. And one of the nice things about traveling by way of train is traveling through the train stations, many of which are beautiful, some palatial, some very historic, like that in Kansas City and in Denver. Amazing stations like in Chicago and Los Angeles. And of course, like I said, the brand new Moynihan Station in New York City. Also, you do not have to worry about getting to train stations very, very early, just as you have to do with getting to the airport. You don't have to worry about the TSA lines. So there's no hassle and no stress when you travel through the stations and board the train. And as I mentioned a few moments ago, when you go on an Amtrak Vacations vacation, you get to select from a grand variety of tours and sightseeing opportunities or activities and excursions in the destination you are visiting. And with New Orleans, there are plenty of things to do, see, and very importantly, eat. One of the great things is walking along the old parts of the city, like along Bourbon Street, and along the various areas of the French Quarter, where you're going to see some of the architectural treasures of the houses and buildings from the 1800s, the 1700s, the 1600s, some even as far back as the 1500s that pepper along the French Quarter. And as I said, there's a lot to see, a lot to do, and yes, folks, a lot to eat and enjoy, like the luscious and amazing Cajun and Creole cuisine, such as at the famous restaurant, the Court of the Two Sisters, which is famous for both its brunch, which always has an amazing jazz band playing, or my favorite, the table d'hôte dinner, where you have 5 amazing courses of Cajun and Creole dishes that you get to pick from, and there's quite a variety that makes an incredible meal. Additionally, as I mentioned, you get to choose what you see and do, from attending and visiting the Audubon Zoo or the aquarium, going to the Mardi Gras world, as it's called, which is where many of the amazing Mardi Gras floats are built over the year in preparation for the big parade as Mardi Gras hits the French Quarter. You can go to one of the plantations, the historic plantations, like Laurel Plantation, just outside the city. There's even an amazing World War II museum. In fact, it is the National World War II Museum that has 2 different portions of the museum, 2 different wings to walk through. One highlighting the Pacific theater of the war, and one highlighting the European theater of the war. And I've been there. It is absolutely breathtaking at the WW2 Museum. Beyond just choosing what you get to see and do when visiting New Orleans, you also get to pick where you stay. And we have options from 3-star to 4-star to 5-star hotels. And your Amtrak Vacations reservationist will be able to provide you with what hotels are available, what the amenities are, and even make some suggestions about where they think would be great for you to stay. And beyond that, when you work with an Amtrak Vacations reservationist, we will help you because we are rail experts and we have that rail expert knowledge. We understand that trying to plan a trip around rail travel is kind of confusing and kind of difficult and kind of frustrating. Well, we do that for you. And we understand that you might have not even taken a train vacation or a train trip before. Well, we book and plan around rail travel all day, every day. We're happy to help. So let's cover a few great vacation itineraries available through Amtrak Vacations. First of which, the New Orleans Ultimate Getaway round trip from New York City. What that means is this itinerary starts by way of train, heading to New Orleans, and then returns to New York City by way of train. Again, round trip. And we can reorganize any of our itineraries to start and end from your local Amtrak station, your most convenient Amtrak station, making it round trip from your hometown. What you'll also notice is there's a number 4 in the little bubble next to where it says New Orleans. That means that there are 4 hotel nights included with the package. What else is included? Well, look onto the screen under the What's Included line items, including a Swamp and Bayou tour, a Steamboat Natchez daytime or evening cruise. What that is a paddle wheel cruise in the evening time or in the afternoon with a jazz band playing. You'll have admission to the National World War II Museum, which I just covered in a moment, and even a dinner at a historical New Orleans classic restaurant. Next up, we have the Riverwalk to the French Quarter. This is a great itinerary that actually hits 2 cities and even 2 states on one journey. In this case, visiting San Antonio, where we would include a 3-night hotel stay in San Antonio with a hop-on, hop-off tour. Those are those double-decker buses where you can literally get on and off the tour at the major attractions and the great spots around the city. Now, when you get off at some of those places, such as the historic Riverwalk or the Texas Ranger Museum, that pass also includes admission to those great places. Then we will include the train to get you from San Antonio through Texas, through Louisiana and into the bayous of New Orleans, where we would include a 3-night stay for you and a sightseeing tour of New Orleans. It's a great experience. This itinerary, the Jazz, Blues, and Rock and Roll, is one of our best sellers because it is a multi-city, multi-state, in this case, Chicago and Illinois, Memphis and Tennessee, and New Orleans, Louisiana, journey that highlights some of the best music cities all around the United States. So in those 3 places, you're going to get the experience of a hop-on, hop-off in Chicago, an admission and a guided tour through Memphis with access to Graceland, and then, yes, a visit down in New Orleans for plenty of time to sightsee during the 3-night stay there. And then there's this, the Grand Rail experience. This is quite literally a big loop around the United States, heading out from Chicago, clear across the country to Seattle, then down the coast of Washington, Oregon, and most importantly, along the coast of California to Los Angeles, before taking the Sunset Limited to New Orleans, and then back up the coast of the United States, on this case, the East Coast, to New Orleans. So this is to Washington, D.C. from New Orleans, I should say. So this is an around the country journey that hits some of America's most popular cities to visit, all on one trip, all connected by way of train. So as we wrap up, let me just highlight why you may want to choose Amtrak Vacations. Number one, we are a one-stop shop for your hotels, your sightseeing experiences, your train travel experiences. We can even book car rental. We can even book transfers from the airports where you're flying, if you're flying into a city. And we allow you to choose what hotels you stay at, what sightseeing you experience, what level of accommodation you might enjoy on the train. So this trip, your trip, is uniquely yours. And we have a very flexible booking window. We can book from today, and by that we mean today. We can book if you're looking to do a last-minute vacation today, or we can book up to 2 years in advance. So if you're planning a trip for next year or the year after, we've got you covered. And as I mentioned, we are the train travel experts. We understand train travel might be new to you. We might understand you might have a lot of questions about when should you get to the station? How do you board the train? How do you connect from one area to another? How do tickets work? We're here to handle all of that for you, to make you feel comfortable about your next rail vacation. Again, you are allowed, and we encourage you to pick where you stay, from a 3-star to a 4-star to a 5-star hotel. And we have an extensive vacation collection. If you want to go to one U.S. city or 10 U.S. cities all on one trip, we can do that. If you want to visit a national park, we can help you with that. If you want a completely customized rail experience, we can book and plan that all together for you. And as I've mentioned multiple times, you do not have to start just from Chicago or just from New York or just from San Antonio. We can get you going from even your most convenient and local Amtrak station, and even get you going back to that Amtrak station at the end of the trip, if that's what you'd like to do. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to give us a call here at 1-800-268-7252. Please feel free to jump on to amtrakvacations.com and look at some of our many vacation packages and itineraries we have there. And if you prefer to work through a local travel advisor, feel free to tell them what you're interested in, where you're looking to go, and that you're looking to go through Amtrak Vacations. We work with travel advisors all the time to plan trips for you folks. Well, thank you folks for taking the time on this presentation. I look forward to seeing you again very soon. Have a great day.